Good deal, they showed up.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we are coming to you today, thanking you for the blessings that we are enjoying at your hand. We are thankful for the rain because we know that it will lead to so many of the beautiful things of yours that we enjoy with the trees and the grass and the flowers. And so, Lord, we just rejoice in the seasons that you've given us and the way that you care for each one of us. Watch over our food and bless us with it. Watch over our club and bless us with our service. Help us to always be willing to serve in any way that we can for you and for our community. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right, you may be seated. Our fabulous musicians are not here today, so Marian's actually traveling. She's out of town. So you don't get to sing today, unfortunately. Yeah, I know. So, well, welcome to the first Rotary meeting in the wonderful, soggy and wet month of April. We do have a few guests in the room, and I do apologize. I forgot to bring the toy for Hudson today, so he's probably going to be pretty active and talkative. And we did move the camera a little bit farther back for the suggestion of a couple of people to make it hopefully easier to see. So hopefully he doesn't grab that and start throwing it around today. But Hudson is here again for another meeting. We have Jesse. He is back. Hi, Jesse. Good to see you. And when he walked in the room, he gave a big old hug to our guest speaker today. So we are looking forward to our guest speakers. We'll all have Roger introduce you officially in a minute. Pam Fisher's here. Hi, Pam. Welcome back. Somebody maybe started a rumor and said you might be interested in joining the club. So I hope that's a true rumor. So.
I'm gonna get scared. I'm getting scared.
Well,
I'm slow.
welcome, Pam. Who else we got? Oh, Heather is back, and she brought a couple guests with us. So who'd you bring with us?
Joseph, my husband, and Betty, our founder.
Wonderful. Glad you guys could all. Let's give a round of applause for all of our guests. Did I miss anybody? I don't think so. All right. Well, who's happy about something exciting? Want to share some good news with the club today? All right, Michelle.
I shared my writings with you guys and the story about that one time I met with the Terre Haute publisher, and it was such a disappointing situation, and have been working on, and we're getting close to print with the Launch Academy piece. And somebody that I know in the Indianapolis market mentioned to somebody else what we were working on, and it got repeated to a gal that started one of the first, I think maybe the first charter bilingual school in Indianapolis, and happens to be personal friends with several publishers, legit, not self-publishing publishers, and published writers, and asked me to meet with her and share a couple of my pieces with her, and I did, and I got an email saying, we need you to send your manuscripts over. I'm setting up some meetings for you.
Awesome.
So,
Congratulations.
I mean, who knows where I'll leave, but that's a big deal.
That's great. Congrats.
As long as it's still at the radio station, I'm okay with it.
Mike,
What did he say?
as long as you're still at the radio
Yeah,
station, he's
yeah.
okay.
Well, this is my first day back from southern sunshine state of Florida. I'd like to say it's nice, but no. So I'm going to take $1 out because I'll give $1 for that. Also, the $1 is for last night when we came back. We had food in the house. We went down to the China buffet and show up with Jim and Kathy Deal. So we had a nice dinner with them, and I learned even more about Iceland.
Good.
But I actually saw the video. I saw all the videos that were put up, but some weren't. So I didn't make up down there at the Anna Maria Island Club because it is no more.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They, it's a different club now, and they meet, their meeting place called the Manatee River Rotary Club, and it was like 15 miles away from us, so I thought it didn't.
You're on vacation.
But anyway, it's as good as it can be to be back. I welcome Dave back, I know he was down.
Welcome back, Mike. Glad you had a good time down there. Who else is happy or excited about something? John Lee.
I'm gonna come all the way up here and I'm gonna, Andrew, give you a couple of bucks, one for me and one for Dwayne. He's left already. But Dwayne and I spent Saturday afternoon at Camp Cretenstein at their 100th anniversary celebration for the Boy Scout camp out there at Cretenstein, and had a fantastic time. And it looks like, did Rob already leave?
He stuck out.
He got a phone call.
Oh, that's too bad, because he was there the whole weekend, and I wanted to see if he survived. Evidently he survived, but how well he survived. It was pretty cool Sunday morning when he got up, but we had nice dry weather out there. But the neat thing was, I came back and I got on YouTube and I just searched Camp Cretenstein and came up with a whole section for YouTube that was all the different videos that people have put up about Camp Cretenstein. And I was going through them, and suddenly there was a name there that I recognized, wasn't there, Andrew?
For a couple of years, yeah.
And Andrew put up several videos, and I'll tell you what, this guy, even back in 2013, 2014, he did a pretty good job. I don't know what happened to him since then, but he did a good job. So congratulations, and thank you for some memories. Appreciate it.
Glad that somebody's at least viewing those videos. I was cleaning out closet the other day. I found a bunch of 8mm videos from camp that were donated and given to me somehow, so I need to get those developed onto some DVDs or something. I'll share them with you as soon as we can figure out how to do that. But there's like a stack of 4 of them. That'd be really cool to see some really old videos. Anything else that anybody wants to share with the club? Couple of announcements. Next week is already going to be April 13th, so we will be meeting at the bistro, like we've been talking about for a while now. The menu looks like it's going to be pulled pork, beefy vegetable soup. She might have an option for a Manhattan of some kind, and then a build your own salad. And I believe the price is still going to be the same, $11. Same time and everything, noon, all that fun stuff. We should be able to get in and out of there the same amount of time, about an hour or less. So just make sure you show up at the bistro next week and not here. If you show up here, you'll be eating alone. So we'll be over there. I'm going to take some of the speakers and some other things over there to make sure that we have what we need, and we'll give it a shot and see how it goes. It should be a pretty good time to head out that direction. Any questions about that? All right. 4th of July meeting tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. And Alicia is going to be in charge of that. I'll be there, and I know several other people will be there as well. 6 o'clock over at Emmert. We'll get going on more of our 4th of July business that we have. It does count as a attendance makeup. If you'd like to join us for that, all are welcome. And it's kind of nice to have some new folks in the room to kind of bounce ideas off of, and mostly give assignments to. Because what I found in any organization I've ever been a part of, if you're not at the meeting, then that means you volunteer for something, and then you find out in an email later. So if you show up to the meeting, then that means you get to stand up for yourself and not be assigned a special task. But we've got a lot of good things coming up with the 4th of July, and we're already really hard at work on making sure that we get this celebration underway. And then tentatively for the board, I'm thinking the 20th for our next board meeting. That way we can kind of review how things went at the bistro and recap anything that we need to between now and then. So tentatively the 20th, that'd be the Wednesday, and no, we do it here. Because we're just meeting at the bistro just 1 week, so just the 13th. And then the 20th will be back here at the restaurant. Any questions or anything anybody wants to add or throw in?
One quick thing, we added Tony's tumbling and dance studio Sunday, 2 o'clock for a 1-hour performance.
Yeah, Tony's tumbling and dance Sunday at 2 o'clock of our celebration. We'll get that updated schedule. Miranda, you have something?
I have the program next week, and it's going to be Tiffany Baker from Frye Sisters Investments.
All right, Miranda's got the program lined up for next week with Tiffany Baker, so that should be exciting as well. Anything else before we have Roger come on up? All right, Roger, you can go ahead and make your way up front here to introduce your guest speaker. But when I walked in, I saw our guest speaker and I knew exactly who she was because I've seen her on TV a few times, and I also see her tag Roger in Facebook posts just about every Sunday, talking about how handsome this young man is right here. So, Roger, the floor is yours.
Okay, I won't need a microphone. Let's see, I've been in the Rotary 9 years now, and a lot of you know me, Roger Doolin, but I got into the Rotary because you had to have a business sort of or retired, and I did the business of restoring vintage campers. And one of my times I brought 2 out here for us, but that, like I said, that was 9 years ago, and I did campers, and they went as far as California, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Florida, went as far as Connecticut to buy one, sight unseen off eBay. And it's been a good business as a part-time job. But then being in the Rotary has been good also. And my speaker today, she's going to tell a little bit about her life, maybe her addiction, what she's done and how she's doing now, and I really love this woman, and I've known her all her life. A lot of you know her and know who she is, but she is my oldest daughter, and I'm very proud of the way that she's changed her life around from what she was before and what she does now. She does a very good job. She looks for the
Wabash Valley Recovery.
Wabash Valley Recovery as a certified addiction recovery coach. And I've never heard her speak yet, but I know she has spoken at other places. She's spoken at churches. And she's been on TV with Dana Winklefleck, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. 3 times. And I'm very proud of her, what she does now. Shonna Frye.
I prefer not to use the microphone if that's okay. Can everybody hear me? Because I talk really loud. So, my name's Shonna Frye. I'm Roger's oldest daughter. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of my history of what led me to where I am now, but I will touch on it. So, I grew up, Roger's oldest daughter, grew up in I feel like I had a good childhood. My dad and my mom split when I was a teenager, and that, coupled with a lot of other things that I was going through at that time, I was a teenager in the 80s, led me to eventually dabble in drugs. First marijuana, and then a few other things, and then eventually I started using that at around 18 or 19 years old. I started doing that. I did that off and on for years. I had, all in all, I think I had about a 20-year meth addiction. I had children and got married in between. In that time, I would get off of drugs for a little while, and then I would just get back on them. I don't know. I think I struggled with a lot of codependency issues, a lot of self-esteem issues, things. You know, I blamed myself at times for my parents divorcing, even though now I know that that wasn't my fault. It's just a lot of things. I grew up in this town. Many of you know there's not a lot for the youth to do in this town. I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm just saying that that's where it steered me. You know, I made the conscious choice to do the things that I did. So years into my addiction, I somehow ended up in a really bad crowd in Vigo County in 2005, around that time. And then in 2008, I got to where I started selling meth, and I started selling it in large quantities. I was trying to just make some money and I'd lost custody of my kids, and I just felt kind of like I was in a dead end position. And it's hard for a lot of you folks to understand. I wouldn't expect you to, but I will say this, that addiction affects probably 80%, or has affected probably 80%, if not more, of the people in this room. Whether you want to admit it or not, somebody's got an Uncle Bob that likes to drink down at the Eagles every night. Somebody else likes to take a few tokes off their marijuana every night to relax, or whatever. You might have nieces, nephews, grandkids that have been in and out of the system, or been in and out of drugs, and or had trouble at school and somehow got mixed up with the wrong crowd. But addiction doesn't discriminate, okay? So just want to put that out there. Doesn't matter what social status you're from. It doesn't matter how much money you have, how much money you don't have, what kind of car you drive. Addiction is addiction, and I can guarantee you that there's probably judges over in Vigo County right now that are popping pills right before they go onto the stand, and that's just the
truth of the matter.
That's the truth of it. I'm not condemning those people by any means. Matter of fact, I pray for those people. Anyway, I got mixed up with some people that gave me an opportunity to sell meth in large quantities, and I did it because I got addicted to the money. I got addicted to the status, I should say. And in 2008, December 11th of 2008, unbeknownst to me and 20 other people, we became part of a federal investigation. The feds had started watching us in July of that year, and they watched us for 6 months, and they got a lot of evidence on us. They got pictures, they got phone calls, they got people in and out of my house with recording devices. And so 2 weeks to the day before Christmas in 2008, about 15 feds came into my home and arrested me. And I was terrified, but yet I was relieved. And I tell people that, and they're like, how? But I had been chasing my tail, and I had been chasing this false lifestyle that I thought that I wanted for years, and it finally caught up to me, and I was just relieved that it had finally caught up to me. I was terrified because I didn't know how long. I went to jail, and I didn't know how long I would be there. I ended up being in jail for 19 months. At about 15 months, I think it was, I finally got sentenced because I had to wait on, there were 20 other people on my indictment. So I had to wait on everybody from that indictment to get sentenced before I could get sentenced. I was facing 10 years in federal prison. That was a minimum. I got what I feel a fairly decent public defender, and he got my sentence lowered to 6 years, based on my criminal history and just some other things. But he got my sentence, to 6 years. I was sentenced to federal prison in Lexington, Kentucky. I forgot for a minute. In Lexington, Kentucky, I did 9 months there after doing 19 months in the county jail, which to me was worse than prison. The county jail time was so much worse. I did 9 months in the federal prison in Lexington, and then I got sentenced to another prison in Greenville, Illinois, where I was able to do a drug program that was a very, very extensive drug program. It was a 9-month drug program that got me a year off of my sentence, and I did that program. Initially, I did it for the time off, but eventually it was one of the best programs I've ever done in my life. I learned a lot about myself, a lot of why for 20 years I'd had the self-esteem issues and all issues that I'd had. I graduated that program and I got a job outside the prison. Finally got out of prison, and I got a job 2 weeks to the day after I got out of jail from prison. I've had a job literally ever since I got out. I've had several different jobs, but I've never went without a job. I worked in restaurants. I worked at Dairy Queen. I worked at a Subway restaurant. I worked at Buffalo Wild Wings for Jesse. I worked at Olive Garden, and then finally in 2020, someone from Hamilton Center approached me and told me about this program called the New Citizens Program. And this New Citizens Program takes felons, convicted felons, and kind of re-enters them into society, gives them kind of a second chance. So what this program entailed was you had to do a year in Hamilton Center, and you worked in 4 different departments in 3-month intervals. And at the end of the year, if you successfully completed the program, you got to choose what department you wanted to stay in. This program was very rigorous. I had to meet with the team every Thursday, and I had to display humility repeatedly. I had to tell them, the things I was struggling with, the things that I wasn't struggling with, but I did it, and I did it with my head held high. There was a lot of times that I wanted to quit, and I'm not lying when I tell you that every single day I pulled into that parking lot at Hamilton Center, I prayed. I prayed in my car, God, just get me through this, because I know that this is going to lead to other things. Sure enough, just shortly after a year of me completing that program, my boss at Wabash Valley Recovery Center, where I'm currently employed, messaged me out of the blue, just messaged me and offered me a position with Wabash Valley Recovery. I didn't have any certifications, nothing. I just completed the program at Hamilton Center. That was it. And I told her I had lots of good benefits there. I had paid time off there. I have a sick child I take care of, so the paid time off really helped. I had good insurance, had good hours, but I prayed and I prayed and I prayed about it. And about a week after she approached me with that position, I accepted it. They have paid for me to take classes for certification to be a peer recovery coach, which is now what I do. They paid for my testing. They gave me great hours, great benefits. It has been solely a gift of God that I am where I am now. In December of last year, I celebrated 13 years clean and sober, which is a pretty big accomplishment, because if you had known me then, you probably would have never believed that I would be where I am now. But what I currently do is I'm a certified addictions peer recovery coach. So what this does is I'm not a counselor, I'm not a therapist. I simply, all our services are free. They're confidential and free. We're a non-for-profit organization. We're in affiliation with Next Step. We are grant funded. The United Way also helps us. I go into jails on Mondays. I go into Vigo County jails, and I mentor to the women there who are exactly where I used to be. And honestly, I wish there would have been a Shonna when I was in jail, because I think the program that I work right now is a much needed program. Side note, I've been trying to get into Clay County for as long as I've had this job, so if anybody has any kind of connection that can help me get into Clay County to do this jail mentoring program, I would really appreciate it, because that's where I go to Vigo and I go to Park, but we have a 7-county area that we can cover as far as our jail mentoring goes. We have male and female peer recovery coaches. I also see people in office on referrals, walk-ins. What a peer recovery coach does is I connect them with the resources that they need. I hold their hand, essentially, in their recovery. I tell my clients that their recovery is their recovery. I meet them where they're at. I don't care if they just used in the parking lot before they came in the door. Okay, they made the step to come into the door, and to me that's a great leap. So I meet them where they're at in their recovery, and we go from there. I tell them they're driving the recovery car, I'm just riding in the passenger seat. I'm there to provide resources for inpatient services. I'm there to provide services for child care. If they want outpatient services places, I can do all of that and more. And like I said, it's free. We're there Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. We're located at 500 Farrington, which is in between 5th and 6th you're familiar with that area, it's right by Anthony Square. Our building used to be owned by Link Hobbs, he's an accountant in Vigo County. I brought some cards and some, excuse me, and some brochures, if anybody wants one. We also are affiliated with Next Step Foundation, which is located at 6th and Washington. And they have a thing called the Recovery Cafe that they've recently opened, and it's a free lunch on Tuesdays and Fridays. And they have a coffee bar there for anyone in or out of recovery. You know, it doesn't matter if you've never touched a substance in your life, if you have a family member that you just want to go support, you can become a member of the Recovery Cafe. Also, Saturday, April 23rd is our second annual Recovery is Beautiful Gala. And yes, I said gala, nobody has those anymore, but I was privileged enough in the first one in 2020 to walk the runway in that. And what that is it's a celebration of those in recovery. We take some people that are in recovery that have been nominated to kind of celebrate the recovery and rock their recovery, so to speak, and we pair them up with sponsors in Vigo County, clothing places, and they get to walk the runway, and we say a little thing about them, and they get to show off their recovery. It's a very important event to those in recovery, as well as the people that will attend. The people that attend it are people from Chamber of Commerce. There's a lot of lawyers, police, other recovery centers. Anybody in that genre will be there. It's you can go on Wabash Valley Recovery website or Facebook page to find if you're interested in getting tickets. My dad is going to go. He bought a half table so that M and K can go. I won't be walking the runway, but I did get to walk the runway in the first one, which was really cool to me. I got to wear a nice dress and just kind of show off my recovery, and they say a little something about you. So if anybody's interested in that, you can go to that webpage too, or that Facebook page, and buy a ticket. And if anybody has any questions after this, I'll be more than welcome to answer them. And I thank you very much for letting me speak today. Oh, I stay up here? Sorry, I didn't know.
You gotta take questions right now.
I don't have
Right now, okay.
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I just want to tell you, Shonna, that you are one in a million for me. Because, well, I've never been addicted to drugs or anything. When you got out of that, you could have gone on with your life and done whatever you wanted to. But you chose to turn around and help those and pick those back up that were back in your position. And that shows character beyond measure.
And let me just say to that, I give it all to God. I gave it, God is the only reason that I'm standing here right now. Because I got on my knees in that jail, the Vigo County Jail, and I prayed to God to take away my addiction, and He did. And so it's all but God.
I just want you to know that me and your dad are both extremely proud of you.
Thanks.
I've got one little question. After you've gone through and what you said, how you got started and everything, what should we do with the passage of the bill in Congress now to legalize marijuana?
You know what, I'm not anybody to talk on that. And I'm just gonna keep that real with you. I can say this, very, very seldom, there's a very slim percentage of people that come into our office that are addicted to marijuana. Okay, a lot of the people that we see are more on opioids, heroin. There's a bad heroin epidemic in Vigo County, and it's probably in this county too.
Well, if you don't mind a liberal viewpoint, I'm not liberal, but the viewpoint is I'm from Portland, Oregon, and my mom was on 25 different medicines until she found cannabis. And now she has 5 medicines she takes, and she sleeps through the night, and her fibromyalgia doesn't bother her anymore. So I think that just like any medicine that we take, abuse can happen. And I see far more people addicted to prescription drugs than we typically
Absolutely.
do non-prescription drugs or stuff
Absolutely.
off of the streets. And I think unfortunately in our mindset, we've decided to vilify anyone that uses a drug that doesn't come from the pharmaceutical companies and get run through all those different hands of money. And I think that that's really the sad part of, in my opinion, about marijuana and all the different drug stuff, because I was like Shonna as well.
Yeah.
I'm a reformed addict and recovered drug dealer, and she knows my story. By the way, this lady, I love her because not only does she care about people, but she cares in a special way that not many people do, in that she's willing to sacrifice and lay down her life for them. Most of us talk as we can and say, I'll pray for you, but she actually gets on her knees and does it, and walks the walk with them. So I love her, and I hope you support her. But just that bit of it is, I think that we need to let people make their own decisions on their own lives, and I think that we were supposed to be founded on a freedom basis. And if you're free to live in this country, you should be free to do whatever medicine it takes to help you be healthy. And I don't think we should stand in the way of that. That's just my 2 cents. I'll shut up.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you.
What's the name of your organization?
It's
How long has it been in existence?
So we're Wabash Valley Recovery Center. They've been there, they had 2 other buildings before the one that we are in now. I believe they've been there 3 years, maybe 4. We're still fairly new. And it started off just with like 3 employees. Now we have I think we have 10 of us there. We have female and male peer recovery coaches, and we have someone that answers the phones. We have one, I think we have like 10 people there now. It's Wabash Valley Recovery Center. I have pamphlets and cards if you're more welcome to get one.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
When you go into the jails and talk to some of the women, how do they react to you after they know that you have walked in their shoes?
They first of all, they love me. But because I'm very, very, very transparent, and with saying that, I'll say real quick, if you go to my Facebook page, I am on Facebook. Underneath my name, there's links. There's several links of interviews that I've done with Dana Winklepleck, who is an amazing, amazing woman. If you don't know her, that she's just been a blessing to me. She always tells me how much she loves my transparency, but that's why the girls in the jail love me, because I'm transparent. And when they see me, I go in, and I'm dressed nice, and they're just like, you were here? And I'm like, oh yeah, I was right where you are. And I wish to God I would have had a Shonna to come see me. But I've got a great group of girls that I'm working with right now. A lot of the girls, I see me in them. I see a lot of them. They come from broken homes, broken relationships. They have codependency issues. I hate to say it, but baby daddy issues. They just have all these issues, and they just instead of going this way, they went that way, and that's exactly what happened to me. And honestly, I'm glad that I was arrested. I'll tell anybody that. I don't. There's a lot of people that get arrested and then they start crashing the legal system, and the law. No, I am very good friends with a lot of people that are on the police force now. Sheriff Plassey in Vigo County, love that man. Steve Ming in Vigo County, love that man. Sean Keene, love all those people. They're all great people, and they all work with us in the recovery community. We're all on the same team, and yeah, it's great. It's great. Yep.
All right, let's give her a big round of applause.
Hey,
All right, we want to present to you a nice little emblem here. It's got the Rotary 4-way test. We say this at the end of every meeting here.
I didn't know I get one of these.
Yeah, you sure do. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You want to fix it?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
you want to do that? No, she doesn't.
I'll do it.
Here, I'll pretend I give it to you again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leah.
Thank you. Like I said, I got brochures, if there's yours.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. If
All
anybody
right,
wants
anything
one.
else for the good of the club before we get dismissed? All right, well, if we all rise, we'll say the 4-way test, and we'll be out of here. the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you.
It's like you're in the restaurant and getting cold food.
I know.
It's like, oh, my table's not good.
I know.
I found my notes on here, by the way, I sent you, $112.50 a week. Now that sounds familiar.